When you harvest from a plant, around the world, there's many cultures that have many different ways of giving thanks to the plant for their gifts of food and medicine, and also spirit and wisdom. The exact prayers and wordings, they vary around the world, but what was the same throughout the cultures was the intent behind what they did, the intent from the heart. You send that plant some of your energy for the energy that you're going to gain from that plant as its gift to you. If we look down here, next to and under the fern growth, we'll find the orpines. Right here. These rubbery looking plants. The leaves are slightly serrated. Alright? And they're rounded on the edge, they're not pointy. And the underside of the leaf is almost the same color as the top. It's a little bit paler, a little bit more blue in it. And you'll notice that it doesn't have a very deep vein structure. It has one going up the middle that's noticeable, but that's about it. And it's very rubbery, very bouncy. Now the orpine, they can grow in the field environment. They can also grow in the very moist forest environment like we have right here. And they can also be found growing underneath pines, white pines in the northeast. You can also find them growing underneath some long leaf or yellow pines as we move further south in the country. But the orpine, as you can see, these are fairly short in height. However, they can grow easily up to about 16 inches tall. They can get quite tall. I've seen some that were about 2 feet tall. And if we just take a look at this plant, and not really where it's growing, okay? Right now it's in a really muddy, very moist, shady atmosphere, but like I said, they can grow in the middle of a field. So if we look at the rubbery quality, the color of the plant, you can see the color variation from stem to leaf and leaf to leaf doesn't vary very much. It's very even. All this can give you a hint to its elemental property. And if you've guessed water, you would have guessed right. The orpine aligns with the energy of water, the element of water. And you can definitely feel that in its energy quality when you're around it, when you're sitting next to it, when you're consuming it, if you meditate next to it, if you go to visit its spirit, you'll notice that it has a very young, innocent, feminine spirit that will communicate with you. The plant's energy, the way it grows in the forest, also has that quality. And if you look at the young females in life, they have a tendency to really congregate together, and they take great comfort in each other's company. The orpine is the same way. You'll very rarely find one sitting out by itself somewhere. You'll always find them in groups. Now, one reason that you'll find them in groups is because they are a tuber plant. They're whitish in color, and not just one, it's a cluster of tubers. Now, the root is edible. Very delicious, kind of starchy, mildly sweet. If you dig the roots up and you wash them off, you can eat them raw, or you can steam them or boil them if you'd like. Now, since they are in a cluster like that, you never take all of the tubers from one rootstock, okay? So if you pull up this whole plant and you end up collecting the tubers for food, always leave a few behind. Now, if you just take those and you just throw them back in the ground and cover them up, they're so hardy that that tuber will grow new plants. So that's a way that you can actually promote the growth of the orpin. To harvest one or two of the plants, take the tubers, spread them out, and bury them. And new colonies of orpins will grow. The leaf and the stem of the orpin are also edible. And they're edible raw, or you can steam them. They're kind of mucilagenic, okay? So if you steam them, they have a tendency to get a little slimy. Not so much as the cultivated okra that grows down in the south, but still they do have a slimy quality when you steam them because the cell structure breaks down and all that really gel liquid in them has a tendency to seep out. But if you eat them right off the plant, they don't have that slimy quality. But if you try to get a bunch and tear them up for salad, you'll notice that they bruise very easily and that liquid will seep out and kind of make your salad slimy. So if you're going to add these to a salad, you don't want to tear them up. Just put them in whole. They're very tender, very, very watery in flavor, mildly sweet. They also have a slight bit of bitterness in them. And the stem has a teeny bit of an acidic quality. Not very strong, just like a teeny flavor of vinegar quality in them. So you just pinch that leaf right off the main stem. And you can pick the leaves from the top section or the bottom section. Okay, the plant grows from the top. So out of the top of the plant grows a new stem and new leaves. So if you start harvesting from the bottom of the plant and you leave the top leaves, it will grow a new section of leaves and you can harvest the next ones. And so you'll get this long stalk with all these leaves that keep growing out the top. So if you have just a few orpin plants in your area, and you have yet to spread the tubers to have more colonies come up, that's a way you can slowly harvest from them to add to your food supply. As you can see, if I press on this leaf, it bruises quite easily. Kind of has a slimy quality. But the flavor, hard to beat. I'll eat whole salads of this almost every day. All right. That about covers the orpin. We'll move on to the next plant in the forest, which I believe we'll talk about the jewelweed.